So this is for number 2. Yeah, number 2. On the activity sheet. This is a question, and then I kind of summarized the steps. So first, these are the steps for solving a fraction to fraction question. So it can't be x over 2 plus something. It has to be just a fraction equaling another fraction. This is how you solve this type of specific question. It doesn't apply to questions that look like number 3. It does not apply to, because it's 3 terms and it's not fraction to fraction. Do you know what I mean? So it has to be in this form for these steps to work. So first step, you factor the denominator. You can't factor this and you can't factor x. So step 1 is done. Step number 2, you have to state the non-permissible values. I didn't do this in the last video, but my bad, I'm doing it now. So you can't, there's no x or value. You can't do anything with this side, but you can with this side because it's just x. So essentially x, or sorry, let me do this in a different color. So this is the NPV. X cannot equal 0 because of this value right here. So you're gonna multiply x and x because it's a cross, and then you're gonna multiply 2 and x plus 4 because it's a cross. You can just bring down the equal sign, doesn't matter. So from here, you can start with either one you want, but I'm just gonna start with the x because it's just right here. So I'm gonna box which ones you have to multiply together. So again, we're multiplying the x and the 2 and the x plus 4. Like I said, you could start with either one. I'm gonna start with the x. So I'm just gonna bring it down. So that's 1x, and then another x. So we're multiplying the x and the x. I brought it down. So now we're gonna do these 2 values. You can put the 2 in a bracket, but I think it doesn't really matter. So this is the 2, and then x plus 4. So you're multiplying them. Cross multiply. This is the cross multiply, and then you're gonna distribute. So x multiplied by x gives you x squared. Let me put it in blue. So you get x squared, right? You're still gonna leave the equal sign. So then we've distributed the x to the x. Now we're gonna do the other. So 2 times x gives you, sorry, but 2 times x gives you 2x, and then 2 multiplied by 4 gives you 8. Okay. So in this case, you don't really have like terms, right? So you're gonna move everything on this side to this side, so your equation can equal 0. To get rid of 2x, you subtract 2x, cancel it out, and then to get rid of 8, you subtract 8, cancel it out. So essentially, you're going to have, this is what you're gonna get. So you're going to, when it's like this, you're gonna subtract the 2x to move it to this side, and then you're also gonna subtract the 8 to move it to this side, so you can make it equal 0. Once you remove these 2, it equals 0, but you've moved it to this side, which is how you get this equation. So I cross multiplied and distributed. Collect like terms. Collecting like terms is to be determined. You only collect like terms if there are terms alike. In this case, there are not, because this is x squared, this is 2x, and then this is 8. None of these are alike. You only collect like terms if needed. If not, you move everything to the side to make it equal 0. So you're gonna get a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation is basically when you have x squared something something. So you only collect like terms if you have similar things, but if not, you move everything from one side to this side, and you get 0. So this is basically checked, but I just moved this to the other side because there were no like terms to collect because these are all different. So the 5 is solve for x. I don't know if you did quadratic formula, but you can use a quadratic formula to solve for x. Or for this one, you can use the sum product method. Essentially, I'm going to use the sum product method because it's very quick. But basically, what multiplies to -8 but adds to -2? So this is sum product method. I'm just doing this really quickly, but this is another way to factor instead of using the quadratic formula. So what times what multiplies to -8, and then what adds to -2? So when you're doing sum product, you multiply this by this. So 1 times -8 is -8. So what times what multiplies to this, and then what plus what adds to your inside value of -2. So for a lot of people, they just do guess and check, or they do like this and that. But for me, what multiplies to -8 would be -4 and +2. So what multiplies to -8? Remember this and this. -4 and 2. But keep in mind, -4 and -2 also adds to -2. So -4 plus 2 gives you -2. So this is what my x would be essentially. So to further factor this down, you get like x minus 4, x plus 2. Keep in mind, these are the numbers that I found that multiply and add to -8 and -2. I just simply wrote it down here. So once you have these, you're gonna set it x minus 4 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, and then you're just gonna isolate it to solve for x. So to get rid of the -4, you add 4, x equals 4, and then for this is x plus 2. I'm writing so bad, sorry. X plus 2 equals 0. Get rid of the 2. X equals -2. So before you box your answers, I already boxed it, it's just a habit. You have to make sure that none of these two match to the non-permissible value. So this is basically essentially solving for the x. I really don't know how I can explain solving it from a quadratic. I can send a video. I can send videos and stuff like that, but like you either use a quadratic formula or sum and product method. So I can probably send videos on explaining that. But this is for number 2.